When you're road tripping your old cars, sometimes stuff happens. It's my 66 Corsa with a dropped valve seat. Bad deal. Even worse part is that I'm 3.5 hours from home on my way to see my son in Ottawa. And my wife is in the car. My dog is in the car, my new puppy. And it's making a lot of noise. So it still had oil pressure on that gauge. It was reading okay on the temperature. It was reading under half on the temperature. I was just cruising at, 60 miles an hour. Just cruising along. Everything was good. I pulled off the highway, which the highway is right there. And knock, 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 bang, bang. No bang, but I first thought it was the belt. So I did take the belt off and ran it for a second without the belt just to make sure that it was after it cooled down. Took the belt off, ran it without the belt to make sure it wasn't somewhere in the accessories, and it's definitely over here. Probably this number 5 cylinder. This is a rebuilt 140 engine, but I guess they didn't do the deep valve seats. So that sucks. So I called Haggerty Roadside Assistance after 45 minutes on the phone with them. They're sending a flatbed, and we're going to tow it to the hotel. My son is about a half hour from here. He's on his way to come get us, and we're going to go have some dinner. I'm going to get Haggerty to drop the car at the hotel, and tomorrow I'll go to U-Haul and rent a truck and a trailer to take it home. We were going to stay here for the weekend anyway. It's Friday at about 6 o'clock, and we were going to be here for the weekend, visit my son until Sunday. And I guess we're going to go home in a pickup truck with a Corvair on a trailer. We'll see how that goes. I'll see what I find to rent. I know sometimes there's trouble with U-Haul getting a trailer for a Corvair. It might have to be a Camaro. Anyways, I will keep you guys informed on how this all goes. But so far, this trip got a little more expensive than I had planned. So it's the next day, and we're at the hotel. We were able to get the car towed here last night and parked. Miley and I are, this is Miley, my new pup, who is out of control. We're just hanging out right now. My wife Dawn is in the hotel room. I've been talking to a friend of mine that knows a lot more about this than I do, even though I have owned like 30 of these cars, so I do know a little bit about them. I've put lots and lots and lots of miles on them. I've never dropped a valve seat, and talking to my buddy Dave Binney, he says he doesn't think I did drop a valve seat. So Dave seems to think that maybe it's a rocker split or a pushrod tube, or not a pushrod tube, a push rod. The tip broke off. Not really sure because it's a valve train noise, but usually when you drop a seat, you come off the highway, you shut the car off, restart it, and it knocks. And that's his experience and my experience of seeing other people drop valve seats. I've never dropped one. That's not what this one did. I was cruising down the highway, 3,500 RPM, temps around 375, and I pulled off the highway because it was our exit. I go to pull away from the stop sign, and it was tapping. And it was tapping like, for those of you that have Corvairs, if they sit around a while and the oil drains down and you start them up cold, like after the winter, it was tapping like that, like a valve train tap, clear valve train tap. I let it cool, took the belt off, ran it without the belt to make sure it wasn't something hitting the fan or something like that, because I've had that before. And yeah, that wasn't it. It was still, there was actually, I think, a faint squeak, and it's around the number 5 cylinder, so it'd be logical that it would be somewhere in the valve train. So I'm not going to get too freaked out just yet. not gonna get too freaked out at all. Anyways, it's an old car. It's fine. So I'm hopeful that I can pull the rocker covers off when I get home, swap it a rocker or something like that. But it's nothing I'm going to do in the parking lot. So I've secured a truck and a trailer to tow it home. I'm going to go pick that up. My son's going to take us to go get it, and then I'll tow it home tomorrow or something. It's not a big deal. So does it suck because I have to rent a truck and spend money and all that stuff? Absolutely. Am I pissed off? No. It's an old car. I did just buy it. The engine only had 500 miles on it on the rebuild when I bought this car, and I put about 2,000 miles on it. So I've got about 2,500 miles on this engine. Should I have a failure? Absolutely not. Am I blaming the guy who sold me the car? No, not in the slightest. Am I blaming the person that rebuilt the engine? No. Stuff happens. It's an old car. Lots of things could have happened. Not really that worried about it. It doesn't have to get me to work. If it was my car that was driving me back and forth to work, I'd be a little more concerned. But it's probably not going to get fixed right away. But I'll get it home. It'll be fine, and it's not that big of a deal. It's just a car. I still have it. The last time I had an incident that required a Corvair to be on a tow truck, I was on the way to the same place to visit my son, and we were T-boned in my 62 Corvair wagon. That was a little more heartbreaking because I don't have the car anymore. Parts of it, I don't have the car anymore. So this, it's just, it's the same. It's going to take the same things that old cars always take: time and money. I'm still very happy with the car. It drives fantastic. It's just, and it was actually, that's the kicker. It was still running really well. So that's what makes me think it's not a valve seat, because if it was a valve seat, it would only be running on 5 cylinders, and it wouldn't be running as well as it did. It was still running smooth. It's just loud. So I guess I'll find out. Well, 4 hours later, we're home. You might wonder why I chose to get a U-Haul truck and trailer instead of using a tow truck. Well, I can tell you that Haggerty Roadside Assistance is good for 200 kilometers, and we had to go 450. So that's the reason we did that. To go the remaining 250 kilometers on a tow truck would have been around $900 in tow bills, and then we still would have had to rent a car to get us and the dog home. So this little unit was about $300 plus the fuel, and it got us home too. So it works. So now I have to get all this stuff out of the shop. Not all of it, but I really want the 66, the Corsa, to be up there where the 64 is. So I got to move the 57 out, move the Rampy out, move that down, take the Malibu out, put the 64 where the Malibu is. The whole, it's the shuffle. It's the Corvair shell game. If you're new to the channel, you can see that I'm not new to these cars. I've got a few of them, had a few of them. So I'm not really worried about it. I will sort it out. I will figure it out. And hopefully it's not too expensive, but it is what it is. Like I said before when I was in Ottawa, was that I'm not angry at all. Like when I drive a 60-year-old car, you know, looking to do 8 hours, 10 hours of driving with it, if something happens, it's a risk I took. It's a risk I was willing to take. That's the other option for me is if I didn't drive the car and I drove in my regular car, and then my old cars just sit around. That's no fun. If they're just going to sit around, then I don't need them. So this was a risk. I'm hoping that it's nothing major. Maybe I'll get a minute to look at it and show you guys. And if I don't in this video, then I'll get it in the next time. But I'm going to get it inside. My friend Kyle's coming, and he's going to give me a hand. We're going to push it inside. I think with that trailer, I can back it right up to the shop. My trailer, I can't really. You'll notice that on the U-Haul trailer, I loaded it backwards. On my trailer, if you've watched any of my previous videos, my trailer, I load them frontwards. I bought a trailer specifically with a long enough axle offset so if a Corvair is pulled on there nose first, the rear axle's sitting right over top of the trailer axles, and the weight from the engine is distributed over that. And then I can tow them frontwards, and that's really good for convertibles and if you're going to tow a ramp side or something like that. Also, I needed to be able to tow other things other than Corvairs. On these little U-Haul trailers, it's really important to put if you're renting one, put a Corvair backwards on it, so that way the weight is over the tongue and it doesn't sway. Also, they won't rent you a trailer to tow your Corvair. They will not let you. You can tell them any year you want, and they are not going to let you. You can tell them you're going to load it any way you want. They are not going to let you. So as you can see, this is clearly not my 66 Corsa. This is clearly absolutely not a Corvair. And you can see by the plate that it is not a 66 Corsa. This is a 68 Camaro. I don't know if you believe that or not, but this is a 68 Camaro. At least according to U-Haul, it's a 68 Camaro. That works. They will rent you a trailer for a 68 Camaro. They will not rent you a trailer for any year of a Corvair. Just keep that in mind on your travels. Well, so far the news is what? There is no news?
Nothing inclusive, no.
So we pulled the rocker cover, and on this side, and everything is shiny and new looking. The only thing that I noticed was there's a little bit of crap there, but there seems to be no issues. And then we ran it for a second, and you saw there's an oil pressure gauge on this engine.
Yep.
And there was what? You said
40 psi.
As soon as it started.
Instantly, yeah.
So we drained some oil, and
we're panning for some gold here.
maybe there's a little chinkle in there. It's hard to tell if it's I think there is. Yeah, there's glitter in that oil.
I see it with the light now.
Yeah. So there's glitter in the oil. Yeah, there's definite glitter in the oil. Look, you can draw on it.
I see it now.
So I've got glitter in my oil.
Yeah.
Which is not good. And the borescope showed what looked to be marks on the top of the number 5 piston, but we can't really tell if it's carbon or marks. There shouldn't be much carbon. This is a low mile engine with a lot of receipts to back it up. So this is not promising. This looks like either way the engine's coming out, and it's going to be expensive from this point.
I'm so sorry. Also say.
The only thing I can say is it is what it is. At least I don't have to drive it to work tomorrow. So I'm gonna cry. No, I'm not.
Do it alone at least.
Do it alone. It's just a car. It sucks, but fortunately, I'm the guy that's gonna take the engine out and probably tear it apart and look at it and see what's going on. I might consult a friend of mine that rebuilds these all the time and get his opinion on it. And yeah, sometimes a fresh engine doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could have been an assembly issue. It could have been a parts failure. It could be anything. Regardless, I'm still very happy with my purchase of the car because I do like the car and I think I did okay on the car. This just makes it to where I've got to keep it longer because it's going to be a lot more expensive now. Yeah, thanks for suffering with me. See you later. Okay, so I called this video and said it was done, but it's not done. This is it. I talked to a friend of mine that rebuilds these engines like regularly, and he said that he thinks maybe it's a valve guide. Maybe the valve guide is for doing whatever valve guides are not supposed to do, and that maybe the one of the valves is rubbing up against it and it's worn the valve guide, and all that bronze brass looking material that I'm finding in the oil is a valve guide, which is still not good, but it's may not be the end of the world. I did run a magnet through that oil and didn't pick up anything, so it's definitely bronze or brass or something. Which could be a lot of things. It could be bearings, main bearings, which would suck. But it doesn't sound like a bottom end noise. It sounds like a valve noise, and it sounds like a squeak. There's a squeak, and the squeak may be the valve running in and out on the guide. So I think where I'm at with it, well, right now I'm done. I had to get the ladder out because I had all the cars put away, and he said, "Why don't you check this one thing?" I go, "Oh, okay, I'll check that one thing." I think where I'm at with it is that the head's probably gonna have to come off on the passenger side. Definitely think it's on the passenger side. I think it sounds like around the number 5 cylinder. I'm trying not to run it very much, or I'd show you guys, but I ran it for a second to show Kyle and get his opinion on it. The thing that makes me think it's not a valve seat, and Dave thinks it's not a valve seat as well, is that it runs even, runs smooth. It's still running fine. It's just noisy, squeaky, and ticky. If it was a valve seat, it wouldn't be running very well at all. It would be definitely only running on 5 cylinders, and it wouldn't be a good situation. If it's a bottom end knock, it could possibly be running just fine and knocking on the bottom end until it gives out. I'm hoping it's not that. So stay tuned. There's probably going to be more videos on this car as I figure out what I'm doing. But it's the last week in October. I'm in Canada. That's pretty much it for the season. So it'll be a winter project because coming soon is project season. That's what I call it, but that's winter. So the Corsa is shelved, and I might play with it here and there to try and figure it out. And then sometime when I get real ambitious, I'll pull the cylinder head. So I'll figure it out over the winter. One way or another, it'll be on the road again in the spring. It may be that I have to tear it down and rebuild it, or it may be that I just need to pull the one head, see what's going on in there, and see if there's any damage, and see if the valve guides, and that might tell me everything before I go and pull the powertrain out, because I can pull the head in the car. It's a pain in the ass because you got to pull the carbs off, pull the shrouds off, all that stuff, but you can pull the head in the car. So I might do that, but not today. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sticking with me. I wasn't going to shoot a video this weekend. I was just going to go visit my son. And then when the car broke down, I thought, I guess I'll show you guys what I'm dealing with. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. I'll be back on the 55 Chevy.